Welcome back once again. So, continuing from where we stopped, I added the meta tag here, which specifies the character encoding, which is the cassette of UTF-8. You know, the attributes in the meta tag in this meta tag is specifying the character encoding, which I've said the cassette character set. I've set the character encoding to what UTF-8. Let me include some other important meta tags, and of course I will tell you the importance of these meta tags to include. That is before we go to the test basics that I said we are going to delve or dive into. So let me include another meta tag here. Let me say let me give it an attribute of name. This name is gonna talk about the author. This name is going to specify the author, and of course it should have another attribute, say content, and the content um, is giving the name of the author. In this case, I'm putting my name. You can put your name, that will be unique to you. Then I have another meta tag. Let me put another meta tag. Let's call that okay. Let's give it an attribute of name as well. And in this case, this name is let me say description is having description as it's equals to description. Then of course the content equals let's say uh, let's say this website is let me collapse the tray side tray. Okay, let me say this website uh, is my HTML learning process. HTML learning process. So you can just give that to your meta tag. Now, what the meta tag does, or what this side I've just specified, what it does is it gives or it helps in the search engine optimization. It makes it very possible or easy for search engine optimization. So while the search engine will talk about the author of the site, the description, and what the site does or what it is, what it is all about. So that is that. Another thing, and remember, I told you that everything in this Earth section, everything in the head element will not be seen in the body of the website, and don't forget that. And another thing that I should have in the head section is we have, that is after the title, let's have the what, let's have the link. Let's have the link. Of course the link, what the link, okay, let me know how the link now, we're gonna be having it later, of course. I will have the link later. But what the link does is the link is what links um, our CSS uh, file to our HTML. Is as well what links uh, our image file to our HTML. But before doing that, let's first of all deal with test basics. Test basics, as in TEXT basics. So you agree with me that most of the content of the website that I've told you consists of what? H1 and the paragraph tag, which is this, consists of what? The H1, that is the heading tag, and the what? The paragraph tag. Now, remember that I told you that the paragraph tag has an hierarchy, which is from H1 to what? H6. That is the hierarchy. This is a subscript I was talking about. You understand? So the hierarchy is from H1, which will give you the biggest element, I mean the biggest text, and the what? H6, which will what? Give us the smallest text, on the body of the website. So remember the hierarchy with H1 having the biggest font and what H6 having the what smallest font. So what the H tag does actually is to what the H tags do is to add some kind of semantic importance to to your page, thereby giving meaning to the body of your what website. Now let's see another tag that makes our page readable. That is the HR tag. HR tag. Let me see. HR tag. Let me see. Let me introduce the HR tag. HR tag. HR tag. Now, remember I told you I was going to give you some self-closing tag. This is one of them. This is one of the self-closing tag, HR tag. How do I mean by self-closing tag? Take a look at this P tag. This is an opening tag, and what this is a closing tag. A closing tag is after you have created um, an element, then you have to close it by representing it with its um, which is by abbreviating it with his what tag. Now look at it. This is a P tag. It is open here. But for closing it, if you have to close it, you have to introduce what angular bracket, that is a less than sign, forward slash. By introducing forward slash to a less than sign, you are closing what the tag. Then the tag name and what the greater than sign. So look at this. You will see that this is different from this. This is open and what this is closed, and you close the tag with what forward slash. So if you look at the HR stand for horizontal rule. What it does is to what it makes the body of the website readable. It creates a kind of horizontal rule on the website. We will see what it does. Let me by the time we run let me shut the server. By the time we go live to the server, we will see what it does. So this is the H1 rule. Like I say, it's a self-closing tag. You don't need to add a closing tag like you have in uh, in the heading tag and the what paragraph tag. So you just what leave it like that. It's self-closing. It closes itself by default. You don't need to introduce what a forward slash to it. Now let's see let's see what the H horizontal rule is doing on the web page. Let's go live. Yes, this is what it does. This is what it does. And of course, you can specify some attributes. You can specify some attributes on this horizontal rule. Don't worry, we're gonna be coming going into that as we proceed. Let's just be having idea and the preliminary knowledge or basic basic knowledge of what the HTML is and how it structures our website. So let's go back to our code. So we've all seen what the we've all seen what the horizontal rule does. So another thing to always note is that HTML is white space collapsing. Let's say, for example, normally as I'm creating space here, you would expect that normally it should create space on the body of our website. No matter the number of space I create, it will not what have effect on the what on the web page. Let's see. That's what it means by white space collapsing. Let's see. You see? And I created several spaces, but it has no effect on the body of the website. That's what it means by what white space collapsing. That's what it means by what white space what collapsing. Let's go back to a code. So let's Ctrl Z to return to the source forward. So that is that about white space collapsing, meaning HTML does not honor any white space. When I told you, I don't know if you can remember, I told you that what white space means is in programming, it's a programming lingo. It actually means space, the normal space. When you say space, give a space, space bar, any space in code. The programming lingo for it is what? White space. So in case of HTML, it's white space what? Collapsing. So, um, so what I mean is, HTML does not honor any white space given to it by just pressing spacebar or tab on your keystrokes. So, what we can do to, if you want to create a white space, what we can do to create a space is to introduce another self-closing tag called BR. BR. Let's say um, BR. This is another self-closing tag. You understand? So let's see how this is working in practical. Let's go to let's launch our let's go live. Let's go live. Look at, by introducing BR, we have what? Introduced what? A white space. You understand? But without the BR, without the self-closing type, BR, it won't create the, even if you punch countless number of space bar or tab on your keystrokes, it won't have effect. Only if you introduce what? The BR tag. And BR tag is called line breaking. It's called line breaking or line break, whichever the case may be. So that is that on white spacing. Then another thing you should let's introduce another sorry, another element that provide semantic meaning. This element provides semantic meaning to the body of our page. It's called an emphasis element. Let's say an emphasis element. Um, an emphasis element. It is denoted. Uh, Let me introduce an emphasis element here. Let's say I want to create an emphasis on this HTML. Like say I'm creating a website with what? HTML. So let's create an emphasis here. EM. EM. Let me close it and create another one. Let me close it finally. So EM. And EM is not a self-closing tag. Of course, if you have to open what and close it. And let's see what this is doing in practical. Let's go back to HTML. You will see I am creating a website with what? HTML. Look at what it does there. Look at what it does. From the look of the element, you see that what it does is to what? Italicize a text. It italicized this text. Look at it. It what? Italicized uh, this text. You understand? So another element that gives a bit of semantic meaning to our web page is what? Strong. Let me go to that. Let me write that out. Strong, strong. Let me say. Let me create a strong element here. Strong, strong. Let me open and close it. Strong. Let me see. Strong, strong. So it makes it makes a text looks bigger and bolder, and that is what it does. And it gives and again, it's an inline element. We have an inline element, and we have what? A block element. We're gonna be seeing the differences. Uh, let me just run through what it does in practical. Then we'll look at the difference between what? Inline element and what? Block element. So let's look at this. Let's look at what it does. Now consider this. We said I'm creating. Then we now introduce what? A strong element in what? I introduced a strong element to what? To the website, and what? I opened it and I what? Close it. Let me sorry. So I opened it and I do what? And I did what? Close it. Now let me show you practically what an inline element is. H1 and P tags are what? Inline element. So this strong EM is what? I mean sorry, excuse me. H tag and P tag are what? Block element, while strong and what? EM are example of what? Inline element. But we're gonna be seeing the definition together. What it is, I don't know. We're gonna be seeing it together ourselves. So let's see what Strong has done to this word here, website on our page. Let's see. Look at. Remember, I told you. I said, uh, it adds a semantic meaning to our page, and of course, by making our text look what bolder and bigger. Look at this text; it looks somewhat bigger than the others, and they have the same font size. If you have to check it, they have the same font size, and this is what EM is doing, emphasis element. What it does is what italicize our text, and what Strong does is what to make our text look bolder. Let's not forget, I told us that let's see what an inline element is and what a tag element. This is an inline element. Inline element. Inline element in HTML. Let's see what it means. An inline element does not start on a new line. An inline element only takes up as much width as what necessary. You understand? Let's look at another meaning. Inline element display in a line. They do not force the text after them to what? To a new line. You understand? If you see, if you see from here, this inline element does not. It only affects the text that is being used against. It doesn't affect this. It doesn't affect this, and it doesn't force this on a what new line. You understand? So let's see block elements. Block elements. Block elements. Block level element always starts on a new line, and the browser automatically adds some space, a margin before and after the element. A block line element always takes up full width available. You understand? And what? It stretches out to the left and right as far as it can go. Two commonly used blockline elements are what? P tag and what? Div. Yes, we're gonna be coming across divs. The other time I think I said H1 tablet. Let's stick with what? Div. It is the two commonly used because why they didn't mention H1 is basically because you only use one H1 per what? Per page. But P tag, that is paragraph tag and div are always what used commonly, and and that is that. So I think now next lesson we're gonna be discussing HTML entities. HTML what entities? You know, I told you our pace is gonna be slow and steady. Main importance or our core value is for us to be able to what impart this knowledge to you, so you don't need to rush. So I think we have two lectures today. Before late in the night we should have the third lecture on HTML, but we should be covering HTML, the whole of HTML by this week. Next week we should be covering an project on HTML alone. We start by next week. So but this week we'll cover a lot, next week we cover a lot, and by weekend we're gonna be having our our first project on HTML alone. So that being said, we'll have to stop here and continue from HTML entity. Thank you for sticking around. God bless you. Wish you success in your endeavor. Thank you.